you guys. Happy hour is from 4 to 6.
Miss Kennedy, would you get me a medium dry vodka martini?
What is
Shaken, not stirred.
Hold on. I'm not hearing it right. Hold on. We got it now.
Is there alcohol in this?
Oh, God, honey, no. What kind of mother do you think I am? Why do you want a little bit? Because if you're going to drink, I'd rather you do it in the house.
Make it Suntory time.
Hi, everyone. I think I'm a little out of focus. Let me just fix that briefly. Yeah, there we are. How is everyone doing? Happy Tuesday. We have a great guest on later, Vin from Hard Copy Blues. He has a great channel, so check out his channel. I can never say this, by the way. I always want to say the link is in the description down below. No, that is correct. I always want to say the description is in the link down below, and I have no idea why. I screw that up all the time. Anyway, his info is in the description, so check out his channel if you have not. Yes, it has been quite the weekend. I think everyone at this point knows how I feel about the Marvels, and I don't necessarily know if I need to discuss it any further. But if anyone has any questions, I'll answer them, obviously. But it was a mess. It was just not good. And I think that superhero fans of all genders deserve better. So let's get into it. I was lucky enough, though, to cleanse my palate with some good stuff. So I did actually watch, getting ready for Napoleon, I did watch The Last Duel, which I really, really appreciated and really liked. And I believe, yeah, my guest has seen it. He mentioned it, I think, he messaged me on Instagram when I had posted I was watching it. So I'm going to get his insight on the film. You know, I'm just really pumped for Napoleon, and I hadn't seen that one by Ridley Scott, and I don't think I'm going to watch House of Gucci anytime soon. Like, I want to see it, but I heard it's just that movie's kind of a mess, screen writing wise, and that's kind of where it falters. But if anyone else really likes House of Gucci, please let me know, because I'm kind of just not putting that in the forefront currently. I'm going to go to the chat a little bit, and then we'll talk about some movies and movie news, I should say. So, Luke, how's it going? Thank you so much for stopping by. I'm doing quite well. I hope you are having a lovely Tuesday. Holland Oates, hey, how's it going? Thanks for stopping by. Fritzky. Hello, Tracy. Been reading the Shining novel. Easy to see why King disliked the Kubrick film, because so much is vastly different. Yeah, apparently, because I never read the novel that the Shining is based off of. But if you read it, it's apparently like you would not even know that the movie was based off of that book whatsoever. So you should do a video on that, Fritzky. I think that would be really interesting for those of us that have not read the book. I think it's fine to have spoilers if you've seen the film. So that'd be really cool, actually. Hey, KB, how's it going? Yes. I'm excited to have been on here as well. Though the movie nonetheless is a masterpiece to me, and on the right day, Kubrick's best. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, that's a very complicated situation. It's like, well, the film stands on its own really brilliantly, but it is nowhere near close to the actual source material. So at that point, do you just call it something else, right? I think that probably would have appeased the author, Stephen King, much. He would have been much happier with that. But maybe it's, I don't know. Maybe it's fine. Again, I'd love to have you discuss it for a video. It'd be great. Hey, that's Max. Thanks for stopping by. He's at work. Very nice to show support. And it is a party posse. That is absolutely the truth. There's always a party posse here. Dementia and Scott, I hope you're enjoying your lunch. I know you put the little salad emoji. I had a really nice salad earlier. I'm seeing the Hunger Games on Thursday and Thanksgiving on Friday. Yes, I am seeing Thanksgiving. I think I'm going to skip the Hunger Games just because I don't really have any desire to see that, even though I get it's a different generation thing and it'll be popular with people that want to see it. Actually, yeah, I actually want to just check when I'm seeing Thanksgiving. I think I'm seeing it Sunday. I don't know if anyone in the chat knows about, like, a lot of people see this trailer for Thanksgiving and they don't know its origins, and I have talked about it on here before. So if you know the origins, I apologize. But essentially, when Grindhouse came out, Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez did a double feature. This was like 12 or 13 years ago, which maybe is too long to finally do this movie because I don't know if people actually remember this. But anyway, they had fake trailers in between the two films. And one of them was for Eli Roth's Thanksgiving. And everyone kind of like loved it and was like, oh, when are they going to make this into a real movie? It just took a very long time. So I don't know if that's going to hurt it at the box office. I know horror is doing really well right now. So regardless, that might be fine. But as far as I can tell, a lot of people don't know that it is from the original Grindhouse double feature that Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez did. So, but we'll see. And I'm going to see when I'm seeing it too. But yes, I'd like to get your review of the Hunger Games. I'd love to hear that since I probably won't be seeing it. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's what I was saying. I'm not viral at all, but my video that discusses the Marvels and why I hated it is doing astronomically well. I think that's happening to like pretty much anyone that covered the Marvels, and it was not my intention to like, I don't know. I didn't really see that coming because my videos kind of always average around the same. This one's blowing up, and I would like to say, I'm gonna like just put this down, Luke, and then I'll respond to that. I really want to make it clear too, because there's a lot of, I've gotten some comments that are like, oh, I'm clickbait hating a movie, and that's definitely not me at all. I'm usually more generous when it comes to superhero movies because I feel like you can't critique them like you could like a Nolan film or, you know, an auteur, essentially. If it's a superhero movie, it's, to me, I agree. I'm in the Scorsese camp. Like, it's not necessarily real filmmaking. However, you still expect a certain standard, and there's no standard with this film, and I'm still baffled that it was released. So if you've been with my channel for a long time, you know that I do not do negative reviews just to get clicks. I genuinely just could not stand that film. So I just wanted to clear that up because I think, you know, it's a crazy time right now on YouTube and the YouTube space, and you know, people are attacking everyone for every reason, and it's really just ridiculous. And it's not that big of a deal. Like, the movie sucks, but it's like everyone can kind of calm down. No one needs to attack everyone and come up with reasons. And it's like you're not really right on any side because you're going to offend someone regardless. So I just wanted to put that out there. I like House of Gucci, but Jared Leto claiming he goes method isn't telling me how to. That's absolutely hilarious. I heard his performance was not good in that one. So it's so weird how Jared Leto can be so good and so bad, like depending on the project. It's really something that baffles me. Because yeah, I've seen him be brilliant and I've seen him be an absolute disaster in films. Central Monday Night Viewing. Thank you so much. Thanks for stopping by, Matt H. Always a pleasure. Your wish is my command. I will do a book versus novel comparison. Watch out for it. Yes. I will absolutely I will watch that. That's comparing The Shining and the novel and their drastic differences for people that just joined. Hello, Brian Childs. Thank you so much for stopping by. The Doc Room 237 is really good Shining doc about The Shining. It is. I actually really love that. And I think it's supposed to be a parody, but I'm not positive because there's like parts of it that feel like it is and parts that don't. And I think like depending on who you ask, there's like a different story about this film. But it does feed into my one conspiracy theory. And I don't even know if I'm allowed to say that word on YouTube, but I do think that like obviously we went to the moon, but I do think that Stanley Kubrick was hired to film backup footage in case we couldn't show. I think what we saw was actual footage from the moon, but I'm saying I think as a safety net, I think that he absolutely shot footage just in case in a set, just because of so many factors. And I think they even discuss it in Room 237. But especially the fact that he had to use these crazy lenses for Barry Lyndon because he wanted to shoot it all with candlelight only, and that's the only lighting in the movie. And he was just all of a sudden given these crazy lenses for free by NASA after, So I think it's really so much was like weighing on that moment in time in our country for us to get to the moon, and I think like just not having a backup plan was not something they were willing to risk. So I think it was a backup plan, and that's it. Hard copy blues. Hey, how's it going? He is my guest, actually. So yes, I was just like stuck thinking about the moon landing for a second, so I apologize. I'm very excited to have him on, and yes, I think we are all on board for Fritzky to do an entire. Oh yes, you did. He did an entire. Okay, that's fantastic. I will check that one out as well. So I'm a little frazzled today. I had so much going on, so I apologize. But yes, I didn't know you did that, so I will absolutely be asking you when you come on about that. That's so great. That's so great. Hello, David. How's it going? I'm doing quite well. How are you? Wilkie's Movies and Music. Hey, how's it going? Let's see here. I'm just going to answer a couple more of these, or like not answer them, but go through them, and then I'll get back to what I had planned on discussing. Hey, Drew, how's it going? Very nice for you to stop by. Reloaded 17. Hi, Tracy. Just watched Fingernails on Apple Plus. Interesting sci-fi-ish love story. Jessie Buckley can act out on out a phone book. She's so believable and disappears in every role she plays. Yeah, I have not seen Fingernails. I will definitely add that to my list though, because I love recommendations like that. And I need to start watching more stuff on Apple TV Plus or Apple Plus. Yeah, I guess it's Apple Plus. I have an Apple TV as well, but yeah, because they just put out great content, and I'm just never on that app really, rarely. Dell, how's it going? Thanks so much for stopping by. Tai Fung, I'm appreciative of so many reviewers saving me money, avoiding bad movies, and finding good ones. Yes, I'm definitely happy for that as well, because I'm not even seeing some of them, and at this point, I just go by Bone Bridger and John Automates if it's something that I have no desire to see, just so I have an idea. And then if they're like, oh, it's really good, check it out, then I will. But normally I have certain, like I no offense to Luke, but I personally just have no desire to see Hunger Games at all. But I know that at least Bone Bridger, if not both John and Bone Bridger, are going to see it. So I will rely on them, because just no desire to see it. And also, I mean, I wasn't a big fan of the Hunger Games trilogy. Like, I never really got sucked into it. I liked the first film kind of, but I felt like it was kind of, I don't know. It just wasn't right up my alley. So I think that that's kind of why I have no interest in this either. So, okay. And then I'll just answer this, and then we'll get into some other stuff. Good news, I made a Joaquin Phoenix performances video recently. Oh, fantastic. I do love Joaquin Phoenix. I'm very excited for Napoleon. I don't know who else in the chat is excited for Napoleon, but I am very excited. Hello, Velvet Elvis. I love that thumbnail as always, or picture profile, I should say, not thumbnail. But yes, so I did watch in preparation, because I've been trying to do that a little bit recently, like, watch something that the director has done before I go see their big film, because there's like so many great films coming out. So The Last Duel was one I hadn't seen, and so I decided to go see it. Or not go see it, but I rented it, and it was just absolutely so much better than I thought it was going to be. And I know, like, John used to say that the trailer was really bad, but the movie is really good. The trailer was really bad for that movie, and I thought it was really. I love how Ridley Scott and the script shows each person's perspective, but it's like such small differences in certain circumstances, and like sometimes their perspective is exactly the same of everyone else's, and it's like looked phenomenal. So great trailer for that. Let's see here. Lucas Garrett, thank you so much for stopping by. Yeah, I think that's like, you can rely on other people for certain films like that, but I'm going to be seeing a lot of films just because we are getting into award season, and there's a lot coming out, a lot to unpack, a lot coming out. So and actually, speaking of trailers, there's something like I couldn't believe that no one noticed this, but if you guys watch the trailer for the new Mean Girls movie, it's for the Broadway show adaptation, and there's no music in it, so it's very confusing, and everyone thinks it's just a remake of Mean Girls, and it looks cheap and weird. I think that's like once they do a different trailer and they add music to it, I think it'll be much clearer because people are like, why did they remake Mean Girls? It just came out, 15 years ago. I mean, I guess, right? Is it 15 years ago? Yeah, I guess it's like around 15 years ago, maybe longer. Either way, I know you could remake a movie in that time frame, but you wouldn't have Tina Fey and Tim Meadows if it was a direct remake. So no, it's not a sequel. It's not a direct remake. It is an adaptation of the Broadway show, just like The Color Purple that's coming out this year. Okay, let's see here. I starred someone's comment. Whew, what did I star? Oh, yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. So I also wanted to bring up too The Killer. I don't know if you guys saw The Killer. It's on Netflix. It's David Fincher's newest film. I really loved most of it. The ending I thought was a little abrupt, but I thought the direction by David Fincher was fantastic as always, and Michael Fassbender really shined. And actually, I just watched a brief review of Taika Waititi's newest film. I think it's called Next Goal Wins, and coming from someone that watched both of those, he essentially said that Michael Fassbender wasn't the right choice for that role in Taika Waititi's film. But he's obviously incredible in The Killer, and it's not like he's bad in Next Goal Wins, but he was just saying that it was just a missed opportunity, and they could have gotten someone that fit the role a little bit better. What are you guys going to see this weekend? That's what I'm very curious about. I thought I was going to be able to see Saltburn this weekend, but apparently you can't see it till next weekend. But I did get Tuesday tickets. I think that's the earliest you can see it because it is, a Thanksgiving release, even though it's like a small release earlier on, like this past week. But I am going to do a double feature of Napoleonish. I thought that would be fun. And Napoleon first probably, and then Wish, because they both come out on the same day. And I've kind of been trying to figure out a way to do a double feature since Barbenheimer. And I felt that made sense. It's like another, historical drama with something light. So I'm trying to make Napoleonish happen. But it probably won't. But it sounds fun to me. So, Dell on movies. I don't know why I even said that. We can go by the first name basis at this point, Dell. They showed Mean Girls trailer before the Marvels. My wife had no idea it was a musical until I explained it. Yes, it's very strange. Even if the things aren't necessarily ready with it, perhaps, like, don't premiere it yet. It's coming out in January. It was very confusing. Brian Childs says Mank was Fincher dabbling into black and white filmmaking. The Killer's Fincher dabbling into a silent filmmaking. That's a really good way to put it. I do like that a lot. And I did like the repetitiveness of Michael Fassbender. Yeah. Yes, Michael Fassbender. I loved the repetitiveness of the dialogue in his head, and I just thought that was so great. Him being the narrator, and just seeing, all what ensues from making that mistake. Really, really, really loved it. And that's not a spoiler thing. You could essentially figure that out from the trailer. It's not going to be just like a happy-go-lucky movie about a hitman. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that. And I thought the score was great as well, with, Atticus Finch and Trent Reznor. They also did an excellent job. And they also did the score for the Ninja Turtles movie this year. So they've been really doing some stellar work. I liked The Killer, but yes, abrupt ending and might be too cerebral for folks looking for an action flick like Haywire. Yeah, it's definitely not you know what? I think the best way to put that would be like saying, if you want to see a race car movie involving, that would be like Drive. That's like the same type of thing. So it's kind of like a less heightened version of that. But I liked it a lot. I'm glad you agreed about the ending because I wanted more actually, and I felt like I wasn't necessarily satisfied with what I got. Hunter, I'm here. Won't be for long, sadly. Just wanted to say hi. Well, I'm thrilled that you're here, and it's very nice for you to stop by. And actually, I want to make sure. I think this is the second week I've done this in a row. I have to message the link to my guest. Again, it's been like a crazy day. I don't know why Tuesdays just keep getting crazier and crazier for me, and I apologize. That's not on anyone else except for me. Yeah, I really forward to Napoleon Wish and Saltburn this weekend, as well as Thanksgiving. And I'm curious to see how Thanksgiving does at the box office. Do you guys think it like the whole Thanksgiving as a like let's say it didn't happen in Grindhouse, like let's say that trailer never happened. How do you guys feel about like themed horror slasher movies like that? Because I saw It's a Wonderful Knife, and I saw so much wasted potential with that film. And I saw it accidentally. I saw it with one of those the $5 movies on Mondays that they do at Regal Cinema, and it wound up being It's a Wonderful Knife. If you guys want to see something that's actually really good, The Holdovers, Priscilla was quite good. I talked about that last week. And of course, Killers of the Flower Moon. And then this weekend, I guess next weekend, technically, Saltburn and Napoleon. I'm not going to say Wish is good yet because I haven't seen it. And I personally think it looks good. I love the animation style. I think it looks like a 90s Disney film. But I'm not going to just say go to see it because I haven't. Like the other ones you can kind of tell. And they've actually, besides Napoleon, like Saltburn has been, getting pretty solid reviews. And it seems great. And it's by Emerald Fennell, who did Promising Young Woman. And I think she's a really fantastic director that's breaking out. Okay, sorry. I'm just sending my link to my guest, and then I'll be back with everyone here. Okay, sorry for the delay. Let's see. Mega Mike the Movie Man. Hello. Hi. I just watched your out of theater reaction to the Marvels. And I think we are on the same page that it is the story was kind of a mess. Because it was. Delon Movies. Don't forget to send my link too. Oh my gosh, I know. Absolutely. I will not. He's next week, I think. Actually, I have to just check. I have to check. He's either next week or the weekend after. I can't find my calendar anywhere, and I don't know what happened to it. But so yes. To your earlier point, Apple TV Plus has been putting out pretty consistently upper quality content. Examples abound: movies, Tetris, even Back with Greyhound, and TV, Severance, and Silo. So I really, really wanted to see Severance, and I have not yet, and I've heard nothing but great things about Silo. So that's, that just goes to show you. And Tetris is actually still on my list from this year. There's two films. There were like 4 movies that kind of all seemed like the same genre to me, and it was Tetris, Blackberry, Nike, the Nike movie Air, and Dumb Money. This is not saying anything bad about that at all. It's just I mentally check them off because it's like they're all in the same category to me. And I did really like Air, and I saw Dumb Money before it was finished, so I need to rewatch that. But I'm definitely really want to see Tetris and Blackberry. That's absolutely sure. I think Napoleon will be amazing. Yeah, me too. I'm really excited. Oh yeah, he does collect a lot. That's for sure. Theme slashers could be great, but too many times filmmakers rely on the gimmick of the theme and don't bother telling a good story. Yes, this was one of my biggest problems with It's a Wonderful Knife. Yes, they're doing the whole what they did in It's a Wonderful Life, where he kind of gets to see what the world is like without him. But in this case, they just didn't push it further, and the slasher was not scary. And I will say Justin Long was fantastic, but he's always fantastic. Put him in anything and he'll be good. I just rewatched Zach and Miri Make a Porno last night, and I forgot like how great he is. He's on screen for like, I don't know, 10 minutes, and he's like one of the best parts of that movie, and it was all improvised. I that's one of my favorite comedies. I think it's a really underrated Kevin Smith film. But yes, I agree with you. And it was a waste. They did waste it with It's a Wonderful Knife. Doc Savage, I'm new. Hello. Well, cheers and welcome to the channel. It's very, very nice to have you here. Yes, Dell. Thank you. I thought so. I tried to book like the next 2 months all at once, kind of, with a few exceptions, and so this worked out great. So I'm really excited that Dell is going to be on next week, and we have, of course, we have Hard Copy Blues Vin this week. So yes, and I wanted to actually preface this by saying too, I don't know if anyone in the chat saw Nia DaCosta's Candyman, but I did watch that. I watched it a few days before seeing the Marvels, and I have to tell you, like, there's no glimpse of her in the Marvels at all as a director. I think like her camera work in Candyman was absolutely stunning and gorgeous. And just the whole feel of the film. Is the storyline perfect? No. And I think a lot of people are always going to be judging a film that is a remake of a classic. So I totally get that. But from a directing standpoint and a filmmaking standpoint, I thought she did an excellent job with Candyman. And so that's when I don't see any of those iconic camera movements that she did in Candyman or perspective shots, and like she's really great with the usage of mirrors as well. Like nothing creative in the Marvels. So it just really goes to show you that when she's saying in interviews like it's Kevin Feige's movie, it is. Absolutely. Justin Long was great in Barbarian. He got what he deserved. Sorry, spoiler alert for some of you. He was great in Barbarian, and I love the way they presented that, because parts of like he's such a likable guy, and at first you kind of think like, oh, well, maybe he didn't actually do those accusations, and then as the movie continues and the way he, slips, like little things he says here and there slip out of his mouth, and you're like, oh, he's actually not the best. That's for sure, and deserved to be canceled. So yeah, he was great. My guest is here, so I'm going to get the intro video for him, and then we'll have him on. So uno momento.
Is there alcohol in this?
Oh, God, honey, no. What kind of mother do you think I am? Why do you want a little bit? Because if you're going to drink, I'd rather you do it in the house.
Make it Suntory time.
Hi.
How's it going?
It's going quite well. I'm going to switch my mirroring of my camera so I can actually face you instead. Yeah, everything's been going great. And how have you been?
Pretty good. Things are finally starting to slow down. We've been trying to kind of collaborate on this for a while, but my kids had fall sports and stuff, and usually this time of day I was busy picking them up and doing different things. But now the sporting season is over, so we were able to make it happen.
Oh, I'm so thrilled that you're here. I'm so glad we were able to make it happen. For anyone that's in the chat, I'd like you to give like a little intro about yourself, just to let everyone know who you are and what your channel is all about. I will say that he is one of the biggest collectors of physical media that I know, and he has a great setup.
Which I'm kicked out of right now. I'm upstairs. Usually when I'm on a stream, I'll have my collection behind me, but my son's got a friend over and they're downstairs in the basement playing video games or something. So I've been relegated to the upstairs, but it's all right.
That's quite all right. You have a lovely plant behind you. So
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, my YouTube channel is Hard Copy Blues. Same handle on Instagram, and I'm on Letterboxd at Aceto866. I've been kind of dormant. Like I said, fall's been kind of busy for us and my family and myself as well. But I did just put out a video a few days ago that covers my entire Criterion collection, complete with my quick thoughts and recommendations on all the titles. Over 180 Criterion releases. So if you're looking to maybe get some Criterion recommendations, check out a recent video I posted a few days ago. But other than that, yeah, I'm just a movie lover and collector.
Fantastic. Whoops. Sorry about that. I'm going to add us both back in here. Yes, I actually had to switch cameras too while you did that. So that was perfect because I wasn't prepared and my battery wasn't charged like normally. So, anyway, yes. So you are big into the Criterion Collection, and I do like when you post about them on Instagram and anything that you've picked up recently that you would like be like, a you might not know what this is, but definitely would want this to be added to your collection.
Well, since the November sale, I think I've gotten maybe seven, and I've watched 6 of them. None of the ones that I picked up this past sale have blown me away, but the one that did stick with me is a film called Naked. I can't remember the director's name, but it's a British film from the 90s, and it's all about this kind of vagrant criminal, and it's almost like After Hours, but much, much darker. His exploits throughout the course of one night in London. It's not going to be a type of film for everybody. There's some content that it tackles that people might not like, but it's definitely a film that sticks with you.
That's
But yeah,
awesome.
nothing like must buy that I've gotten recently.
That's so it's called Naked, you said, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a little list here because I think I always like doing this with my guests. So that's one of your recommendations for physical media you can get in the store and watch at home. Anything that you have seen recently in the theater, or something that you're looking forward to seeing in the theater?
Yeah, I feel like you're really good at theater, going to the theater and supporting these movies and getting out there. And like I can't believe I didn't go see Killers of the Flower Moon, being such a Scorsese fan. But I feel like I'm so engrossed in the collecting side of things and like discovering older films, whether it's through Criterion or whatever. Like my mind is always on that avenue of discovering stuff I haven't seen, maybe from the 70s or the 80s or whatever it might be, that I'm kind of tapped out. I'm kind of not plugged into the new movie scene. I don't get to the
Mm.
theaters very much.
You have kids too, so that also is.
Well, I could still go. I could make the time, but I feel like I'm just really, I don't know. I'm not tuned in like you on the new movies or what's coming out or things like that. But the last thing I saw in theaters, I think it was Talk to Me. It's the last
Oh,
thing.
nice.
But yeah, I'm excited for Killers of the Flower Moon, but it'll have to be at home. I think I have no problem with a movie that's 3.5 hours long, but I just didn't want to sit there in a theater for 3.5 hours. Even for Marty, I didn't want to do it. So I got a pretty nice home theater setup. So I'll be looking forward to that physical when it comes out.
Yeah, and actually, I know you definitely are going to get the physical, but if you don't want to wait, I believe Apple is going to be putting it out. I think it's December 4th, so in a couple weeks, for streaming. Which is, people are kind of disappointed with the box office for Killers of the Flower Moon, but it's made around, I believe, a little over $100 million, and I think for a film that wasn't even being planned on having a wide release. It was just going to have a really limited release, just like David Fincher's The Killer, what Netflix did, and then go straight to streaming in December. I think that's a huge win. You're getting an extra $100 million back, So
Yeah.
yeah, cool. Did you get a chance to watch The Killer yet, or do you know what it is?
I watched it. I finished it yesterday.
Okay, cool. Oh yes, I think you brought that up. Maybe you brought that up in the chat. Maybe not. But what were your thoughts on The Killer?
Well, it's a Fincher film, so it's well made. It's well shot. Everything's quality. It's quality across the board. It was a little bit slow for me, and I feel like I think Fassbender's great, but his character and I don't want to give any spoilers, but he's ruthless and heartless throughout 90% of the film. And then his character takes a turn in a sense, but I didn't really get why.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to spoil it beyond that, but I don't know. The ending was kind of like I think Dell said, and you agreed with him that the ending was a little bit flat. So if I was putting it in a Fincher ranking, it wouldn't be near the top, but it's a fine watch.
Yes, I would agree, and I will say I did like it much more than Mank, and I know that Mank's a really divisive film, and some people love it, and some people are not a fan. What did you feel about Mank?
Mank, I didn't see. Now, is that really long as well?
It's probably in the 2.5 hour range. it was definitely like Netflix's push for the Oscars that year.
Okay. Black and
I
white.
really wanted to like it, and it just it was honestly for me personally hard to get through.
Yeah, I think it's the black and white film, correct?
Yes, and it was actually his father's screenplay, so I think that's why he made it.
Yeah, I think I remember watching the trailer and just didn't want to watch it.
Yeah. No, I understand. And it got nominations, but I don't believe it won anything. So I think he was kind of just like, it was important for him to make this because in honor of his dad. And, I think probably Gary Oldman was a front runner for Best Actor that year, but definitely wasn't winning anything. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump right to the chat really quick, and then we're going to continue our conversation. There's a lot of people that are very excited you're here. Let's see here. Dell says Candyman was DaCosta's movie. I like the Marvels, but it's just a Marvel movie with her name on it. And it's like, it felt like 6 different movies, to be honest. It felt 6 different movies all mushed together. Even when it opens, it felt like I was in act 2 of a film. And it was really a big mess. And there were so many reshoots and all that stuff, and that normally doesn't bother me, but you could tell it was like last minute, let's throw stuff together. And then Nia actually left and this is not to I don't think it's anything that wrong that she had scheduled another film that like is a passion project for her, and because they kept delaying the Marvels, like she had to kind of remotely direct at a certain point towards the end because she had to start working on the other film. And it's really just because they kept delaying it. And so there were a lot of problems, but we're not going to talk about that anymore because I'm sick to death of talking about the Marvels. And we're going to get back to real films. Vin and his hard copy blues. Good to see you on here, man.
Yeah, thanks.
Yes, this is when you first arrived. So yes, so Dell's saying hi. Mega Mike the Movie Man. Holland Oates. Over 180. I don't know what that means. And it probably sometimes when these things
Criterion Collection.
Oh, yes, perfect. Thank you. Sometimes when you finally get to people's comments, they're responding to something that you talked about like 10 minutes before, and then you're like, "Wait, what was that?" Yeah, the Criterion King. He's definitely you in 21st century movies or films. You guys are like the Criterion Kings for sure. I could see Killers of the Flower Moon going to Criterion. Yeah, I could too, actually, Vin. So you'll probably wind up just picking it up on that.
Yeah. Marty's films are all going to Criterion, so.
Yes, as they should. It's one of the better, longer movies I've seen in some time. Yes, I agree. The Killer was boring. Me felt like a story we've seen before. It did, and it didn't. And I think you can probably attest to that too. It's like it's not like he's reinventing the wheel. And I think that if you didn't have as strong of an actor as Michael Fassbender, then it would have not been as impressive.
I think that's definitely true. He's so good that he probably elevated it, more than it would have been,
Yes, he always adds a lot of nuance to his performances, and it probably adds layers to his character that might not necessarily have been on the page. Dude who loves movies, hey. Everyone roundhouse kick that like button, that's for sure. So everyone's saying hi to everyone, and then Gary Oldman was magic in 2003's Tiptoes. I have not seen this. Have you seen this film, Vin?
No, I've not seen Tiptoes.
I love Gary Oldman as an actor, so I would definitely I like recommendations with for him because I definitely have not seen all of his repertoire. That's for sure. What's your favorite Joaquin Phoenix movie? For me, it's between Gladiator, Walk the Line, and Joker. What do you think?
The Master is definitely my favorite from him. I think he's fantastic in that movie. The movie's fantastic. Him opposite Philip Seymour Hoffman. I mean, they're both great. But it's such a complex role that he plays, and it's probably my favorite of his.
Yeah, I'm glad that this question was actually asked, and I'm glad that you provided that answer because I wanted to let everyone in the chat know that we've been longtime Paul Thomas Anderson fans, and we plan at some point. He's going to head out for a second, but I'll just continue what I was saying. There was a plan to at some point like do kind of like a ranking video of Paul Thomas Anderson movies, and I wound up watching it because of this, The Master, and I just absolutely loved it. It was always a film I wanted to see, but it wasn't necessarily like on my radar. as far as like immediate watches, and it's really fantastic. And I think it's got to be in my top three. I mean, top three favorite Paul Thomas Anderson movies. If maybe minimum top five. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's in my top 2.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I loved it so much more than I could have ever even imagined. So
Yeah, I liked it even more on the rewatch. I rewatched it maybe 6 months ago, and it's just so good. So if you guys haven't seen The Master in the chat, definitely give it a shot.
absolutely, you definitely should, all of you. I'm Vincenzo's biggest fan.
Always a
That's
man.
so cute. Being a physical media collector, what's your take on Best Buy? I'm so glad this was asked. They're not doing physical media anymore at Best Buy.
Well, the Best Buy closest to me has stopped selling movies for over a year now. So if I want to go to Best Buy and get a movie, I have to drive 45 minutes away. So it doesn't affect me that much. I don't really care that much. The only thing we're really missing out on is Lionsgate Steelbooks, but somebody else will probably pick that up. And, we're still going to be getting Steelbooks from whether it be Walmart or whoever, but I don't really care that much about Best Buy. Because
Yeah.
I can't go to one, so it doesn't affect me really.
Yes, and I do think you are still able to get movies online through them. So I'm hoping that they do continue their Steelbook releases that way, so that it's not like you can't ever get one ever again from Best Buy, because I know that's like their most popular.
Well, the report I saw said that they're done with online as well.
Wow.
I think Best Buy as a company in general is going to be gone within 5 years completely, because I've seen news reports where they close more and more stores every year. To me, if Barnes and Noble stopped selling Criterion, that would be like the biggest blow, because that's the last vestige that's left for me to go and do in-person physical media shopping and browsing. That's the last frontier, is Best Buy. So when they shut down, then it's really over and we're all online. Because I don't really go to Walmart. I don't go to Target because they're always hit or miss for me. So Barnes and Noble is pretty much my last one. So that's the one I'm holding on to.
It's interesting you said that too, because I was so surprised, but there was a Barnes and Noble that just opened across from where my mom lives, and I was just baffled by it. And I was like, well, that's a good sign. I'm like, well, is it just all the people buying Criterion movies through them, and that's what's keeping them?
There's supposed to be a handful of Barnes and Nobles throughout the country, and one of them is in New York that they're claiming they're going to have every single Criterion on hand. I don't know how they're going to do that logistically with ones that are out of print. But there's like in a few predominant cities, they're going to have, they say they're going to have every single Criterion on release. And I know one is in New York City. So if that happens and that's a real thing, I'm probably going to be taking a drive out to the city. So
yes, that'd be fun. That would be fantastic. I need to step up my Criterion. We all need to, though. I mean, we all need to step it up. We can't all be the masters like Vin. Slowly but surely, Cody. Slowly but surely.
There's some collectors out there that collections dwarf mine, but
well, the one who is it? It's oh my gosh, I'm blanking on his name, but he's in this collecting community. Tony, I think. Yeah, he's the one that has the gigantic collection, and he even has VHSs and things like that. Yeah. His collection's crazy. Okay. Haven't seen Joaquin Phoenix until you've seen him bust a move in To Die For. Really? I don't know what this movie is.
I think that's the one I discovered that one recently. I think he did as well. He has this scene. He plays like I think he's in high school. He has this scene where he does this really jittery, spastic dance. It's pretty great.
Wow. He seemed like he showed that he can dance in Joker a bit. So, I wouldn't be surprised that he's a good dancer. Master's underrated. Great call. Yes. You Were Never Really Here is a great underrated Joaquin Phoenix film. I've always wanted to see that. Have you seen it?
I have. I saw it within the past 6 months. I remember it being pretty good. I think he plays like an assassin or a hitman. It's kind of a really gritty film. I don't remember a hell of a lot of specifics, but I think it's on Amazon.
Oh, very cool. You would recommend it?
Yes, because I remember it being good, but I can't remember a lot of specifics about the plot.
Yeah.
When you watch so many movies, I watch like between 40 to 50 movies a month, and a lot of it just fades away. Kind of, you can only
Yeah.
remember so much.
I would definitely, I've been there for sure. That's definitely a real struggle. Yeah, we did actually just watch The Curse, which is the new Nathan Fielder, Emma Stone show with Benny Safdie. And yeah, it's Benny Safdie. I feel like I didn't even recognize that he was in this show, The Curse. I had just seen him in Oppenheimer, and he always changes his appearance very drastically.
And he played in Good Times, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he was great. He has a very kind of a small role, not small, but it's not exactly a difficult role. But he's really good, and I love Good Time. That's one of my favorite A24 movies.
I love that movie too. Tiptoes stars Matthew McConaughey, Kate Beckinsale, Peter Dinklage, and of course Gary Oldman. The trailer is on YouTube. Okay, yeah, I'll definitely be checking that out. It's a great cast.
Yeah, I've never even heard of that movie.
I went to Target on Sunday and they no longer had a physical media section movie wise, which saddens me. That's crazy. I didn't know Target was getting rid of it too.
Yeah.
You won't believe the trailer. This is a real movie. It was released in 2003. Oldman plays a dwarf. Wow.
He's
Who
a
would have
chameleon.
known? Tiptoes. Yeah, I'm writing this one. I have an ongoing list. I have Naked and Tiptoes written down. I'm back running out of room for physical media, and it's so upsetting. I feel like a lot of people are like that. How do you keep your space? How are you able to just keep collecting?
Well, I have a finished basement, so that allows me to have my entire collection kind of like, if you're just coming over to my house as a guest or something, you're not going to see any of this stuff. It's all downstairs. And I tend to kind of do purges every once in a while where I'll go through my collection, and if it's a film that I don't like that much, or if I know really I'm never going to watch it again, or I'll sell them off, I'll get rid of them. So I tend to curate it in a sense. But even right now, I am kind of pretty much out of room. I've got a few piles on the floor, so I got to figure it out. But I mean, when people say, "Oh, I just don't have the room," like the spines are this thick, you can find a place to put them somewhere. But it's getting there. But I do curate. I think a lot of people will just collect any and everything, but I don't. So if I don't like a film, I won't stay in the collection. I've sold hundreds and hundreds of movies on eBay, which I think is important, because instead of just having this massive collection, you have one that's more tailored to you and your tastes, and it says something about who you are and what you like, instead of just collecting, everything that comes out just because. But it took me a while to calm down and learn that, sometimes we get that collector brain mentality, but I'm definitely working on that.
I love that you do a purge, because that's very Marie Kondo of you. And it's like, I'm not going to watch this again, or I have no desire, to keep this in my collection. So let's just get rid of it. And yeah, I like the fact that you're tailoring your collection that showcases the things you enjoy about cinema. So I like that a lot.
Yeah, I made a YouTube video one time. It was like 11:30 at night, and I randomly was like, filmed the video, and it was just going through my shelves and like deciding what I was going to get rid of. I don't know if it's still on my channel, because I actually did a purge on my channel and kind of deleted a bunch of videos. So it might still be there, but I don't know.
Here's a humongous question. Where would Joaquin Phoenix rank in your favorite actors? For he is my fourth favorite actor behind Tom Hardy, Robert Downey Jr., and Hugh Jackman.
I mean, he's up there, honestly, for me. He never used to be, but when you talk about, okay, this actor is going to be in a film and it's coming out on this day, he's up there as far as ones that get me pretty excited. Daniel Day-Lewis is probably going to be ahead of him for me. It's hard to think off the top of my head, but like him in The Master, he was fantastic. I'm trying to think of some other really good. There's a movie called Two Lovers that's really good that he's in. What are some really good Phoenix performances? Joker, of course, but there's a bunch that I'm blanking on. But he's definitely one that gets me the most excited now. Like coming out, I think he's definitely top 5.
Yeah, and I know you were on my Beau is Afraid panel, and even if you're a person that doesn't like the film or you love it, I mean, it's undeniable that he's so good in it.
Yeah,
But great, other great actors, though, I would say. And I think Robert Downey Jr. was fantastic in Oppenheimer recently. So it was nice to see him in a film that wasn't just him playing Tony Stark, even though he's great as Tony Stark. But it's just nice because he is such a great actor. So he should be showcased appropriately at this point. Is the Criterion numbering up to 1,500 yet?
I think they're in the 1200s. They might be in the 13s, but I don't think they're up to 15. I think they're in the high 1200s.
Cool. It's a lot. I have one Criterion, and it's Menace to Society, but I want a few others. I actually don't know this film.
Menace to Society, yeah, I think it's 90s, but it's like kind of like a hood movie.
Cool.
It's a solid that, and what's the other one that it always gets compared to? I'm drawing a blank. I know it, but yeah, it's like a classic hood movie.
Very
Menace
cool.
to Society.
To Die For with Nicole Kidman in her prime.
Yeah, that's the movie where Joaquin has that dance in it.
Oh, okay. To Die For. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely going to write that one down too. To Die For.
Yeah, that one I found on streaming as well. So you might be able to find that on Amazon as well.
Oh, perfect. Inherent Vice is another great Joaquin Phoenix film. Yes, it is. And I liked it better on the second viewing, but it's not in my favorite Paul Thomas Anderson films. What do you think about that?
I might have to do the same as you. I've only seen it once, but I remember really dragging. It dragged a lot for me. But it's Paul Thomas Anderson and it's Joaquin, so I'm willing to give it another shot, but it's toward the bottom on my PTA.
I'll say that I really appreciated and loved Phantom Thread upon a second watch, and I've seen it three times now in total, maybe 3 or 4 times. But I some films are just you're given such a crazy concept or a specific situation, and it takes so much time to digest it and to really appropriately critique it. And I found that, like, as soon as I watched it a second time, I was like, oh, I get everything now about this movie.
Yeah, I liked it the first time and I gave it a rewatch and loved it. I mean, definitely top 5 PTA, maybe top 4. I just think it's fantastic what those characters, how they just very subtly evolve throughout the film, and the end, great one.
So good. Yeah. My favorite Joaquin Phoenix is Signs, but I know that's a boring answer. That's okay. That's Signs, like when he was breaking out, right?
Yeah, Signs is a great one.
Mm-hmm. He was so good in Walk the Line. He was pretty much Johnny Cash reincarnated. Yeah. Have you seen it? I'd love to hear your thoughts. And I'm going to put you on Solo really quick.
I've seen it, but it's been like, 15 years at least. Maybe that's pretty old at this point. So that's another one I haven't seen it in so long. I can't really say have much of an opinion on it. That's one I should get in the collection though, for sure. I don't even own that one.
Yeah, I think you'll like it. And it's definitely a great performance as well from Reese Witherspoon, and he really captured that character. So I think if you are a Joaquin Phoenix fan, like, watching Walk the Line is going to be right up your alley. And that's when he won, I think, his first Oscar, I believe. So unless I'm totally wrong and I'm just having a false memory, but I'm pretty sure that he did. I think you're thinking of Boys in the Hood for Menace to Society.
Yeah, Boys in the Hood and Menace to Society are like the two iconic 90s movies.
Yeah.
Tackling that subject.
Here's a hot take. I think Gladiator is overrated. It's cliche, and I found nothing original in it. Overrated in my book, but I know a lot of fans love it.
Yeah, I don't know if I love it, but I think it is a very solid movie. I think it's more of a Russell Crowe movie than a Joaquin Phoenix movie, but I think that's a good one.
And speaking of Ridley Scott, because I know that you reached out when you saw I was watching The Last Duel, I really enjoyed that film, and I did speak about it a little bit earlier. I would love to hear you kind of verbalize why you liked The Last Duel so much.
See, that's one that hearing you talk about it and seeing your post on Instagram makes me want to rewatch it. I bought the 4K and I watched it and I loved it. But it's one, again, and I know I like it, but I got to go back and experience it again. But I love the way that they tell the story, very much like have you heard of a film called Rashomon?
No, I haven't.
I believe it's the 1950s. It's a Japanese movie from 1950s, maybe 1960s, but that's where that style of storytelling came from. They're kind of copying that, where each character is telling you their version of what happened. So if you really dig that aspect of it, check out Rashomon. It has a Criterion release, of course. But yeah, I think the next movie that goes into my player is probably going to be the last Duel.
I think you're gonna really appreciate it on a rewatch too. And it is so fascinating how like you and I could be having a totally, I mean, obviously things are gonna add up essentially for most of it, and I love that they showcase that. So each person's version still has things that happened exactly the same, and then there's very specific moments where you see three different versions of it from what actually happened, and I just love that.
Now, I know that they tell Adam Driver's side and Matt Damon's side, and then the actress, I can't remember who the actress was, but they tell her
Yeah.
side of it. Do they tell a fourth version of like the actual truth, or are you just left with those three versions?
Hers is the third one, and when it's being shown, it says that this is the truth. So her version was the truth,
Okay.
according to Ridley Scott. So really loved it. And again, like so many so many things she did that you could think like from both Adam Driver's perspective and Matt Damon's perspective, that she was like flirting with him, and then sometimes she actually was flirting, and then sometimes she definitely was not, and then she was getting greeted by Matt Damon as her husband like very differently multiple times. It was like it's
Yeah,
so juicy in
you're
that sense.
loving that the little nuances, differences between each person's telling of what happened.
Yes. My man Vin, I know you're taking it easy on the Criterions this month in comparison.
Yeah. So July, they have July and November are their two sale months, and last July I bought like 45 titles.
Wow.
So I'm not doing that this time. I bought maybe 7 so far. I'll probably buy like 7 more, but I'm not
Do
going that
you
hard.
do you have a favorite of those titles that you out of the 45 or ones that kind of stuck out to you?
From the last sale,
Mhm.
yeah, Portrait of a Lady on Fire was fantastic. I don't know if you've heard of that film, the French film that came
I've
out.
heard nothing but amazing things about that. I really want to watch it.
The same director, she also put out a film, Petite Maman, which is excellent. It's all
Mm.
about this little girl who encounters in the woods another little girl that's actually her mother in like this different plane of existence, and like she has this relationship with her mother as a child. It was really interesting. A Ruben Ostlund film called Triangle of Sadness. I really liked it. I know a lot of people don't like parts of it. They think it's too slow, but I think it's just a really well done film. And that actually led me down a rabbit hole of some of his other films that are really fantastic. Everything I've watched from him, he's great. A film called The Force Majeure is excellent from him.
I love
Seven,
Triangle of Sadness. Just letting you know, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but that is the one that I did see of the ones you mentioned, and I can understand comes about it, but I thought it was fantastic.
yeah. And the last one that's popping in my head that I got recently from July that was really good is a 70s movie called Midnight Cowboy with Dustin Hoffman and John Voight. That movie was awesome. I love that one too.
That's one of the craziest movies to me that has won Best Picture. Like
Yeah,
it's very out there for an Oscar-winning film.
yeah. Dustin Hoffman is so good. John Voight plays the role he's supposed to play. He's great in it, but Dustin Hoffman is so good in that movie. He's got a lot of films in Criterion. Dustin Hoffman, he's got that. He's got Straw Dogs. He's got The Graduate. He's got a good handful of films in the Criterion collection that are all really good.
Yeah, I completely agree. I would say he's in the top, best actors of all time. Wait. Daniel Day-Lewis's last movie, Phantom Thread, film was so good. I know. Yes, absolutely, Doc Savage. We both are big fans. Minha Jewel. Hi Tracy, it's been a while. I hope you're keeping well. Are you looking forward to the Madam Web trailer tomorrow? It's a female-centered Spider-Woman film, but does include young Peter Parker. I personally didn't even know this was coming out because I've been so absorbed with Marvel's content and Loki season 2 content. I still don't understand why they released the season finale of Loki season 2 the same essentially week as they did with the Marvels. It makes no sense. But I will absolutely check it out. I've heard, for years they were going to do this. I'm definitely going to hopefully it looks good. I think that the Spider-Man franchises in general and spin-offs and everything, I think everything's kind of been not tainted so currently. So I would definitely like to check that out. Are you a Spider-Man fan, Vin?
Not crazy, but I like the Raimi films, and I really liked the last two, Into the Spider-Verse and
Oh,
Across the Spider-Verse. I think those are fantastic films. I think the animation is beautiful. Really, really well done movies. Yeah,
yeah.
if I watch anything superhero related, it's going to be Spider-Man.
Yeah, yeah. I really do think that Across the Spider-Verse actually has a really big shot at getting nominated for Best Picture, actually. I just thought it was fantastic. And South Central. Is that another show or film, I believe? Perhaps. I'm not positive.
I don't know.
Philip Seymour Hoffman won for Capote beating Joaquin Phoenix. Oh, okay. That's very interesting. So that's interesting because they were in the master together. So when Joaquin Phoenix was nominated for Walk the Line, Philip Seymour Hoffman won for Capote. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so everyone knows what this is. South Central is way underrated and underseen. Great call. Okay, so I'm gonna definitely check that one out. I'll write that down as well. Okay. Dell says he needs to rewatch it again. Phantom Thread, saw it once and it didn't work for me. That's I
It's
think
slow.
that's what we were saying. I mean, at least that's what I was saying is like if you watch it again, I think you might appreciate it more.
And Daniel Day-Lewis's character in that film is like, I don't want to say simple. He's not like this over the top, crazy, wild, maniacal character. He's just like, I don't know. It's hard to describe. He's such a deep character, but it's so subtly done. It's Daniel Day-Lewis, just amazing. But I love the relationships in that movie.
And there's a lot of dark comedy in it because he gets annoyed so easily, and
Yeah,
there's just moments where you're just, it's just so ridiculous. Off topic, but do either of you happen to keep up with the indie filmmaker Neil Breen? His films are wow. I
yeah. I
feel like
saw
I
that.
know who that is.
I googled Neil Breen real quick on my phone, and I haven't seen anything from him.
I think that's okay. I think I watched a YouTube video about this guy. It's essentially I think unless I'm wrong, Doc Savage, it's essentially on the level of like Tommy Wiseau with The Room because I definitely recognize this guy and I definitely think I saw a YouTube video about this person and he just makes like the worst movies ever. So um I I would say Walking Phoenix has more range, but they're both good. What do you think?
Well, I'll go Joaquin, but I honestly can't remember a hell of a lot of Hugh Jackman films that I've even seen. I know I'm sure I've seen a handful, but there's no giant title that sticks out to me when I think Hugh Jackman except Logan.
Yeah, I agree with that. And he's going to be coming for an appearance as Wolverine one more time for Deadpool 3. So we will see we'll see how that goes. I think the film's probably going to be pretty good since they're riding everything on that being good because they delayed everything else. So I actually I'll just bring this up real quick. The Barnes and Noble near my house is no longer there, so I have to drive a bit. Yeah, that's sad.
Yeah, mine's like 25 minutes away, which is still a bit of drive, but
Yeah.
it has a good size collection still, so it's good.
So I know it's like this weird time frame of like we just finished Halloween and now we're getting into Christmas, but I still kind of want to ask if there was I know you saw Talk to Me, but is there a horror film that you might recommend to people that maybe are still trying to catch up on things that they missed in October?
Well, I did really enjoy Talk to Me. I feel like I always talk about the same horror films when I'm on streams. My favorite type of horror is psychological horror, religion-based horror. I'm big on, and most of my favorite horror movies are they always have a strong female lead in them. It's like kind of a pattern for me lately. Some really good films I've seen that are fairly recent films, not really that old, so they should be easy to find. I thought The Lodge was really good. I thought Saint Maud was fantastic, and I've said this dozens of times before on lots of other streams, but one of my favorite horror films of all time is The Black Coat's Daughter. I know I love that movie, but it's one that a lot of people probably don't know about or haven't heard about. But I think it's such a subtle, slow burn of a horror film. It's brutal and it does something as it relates to possession that I've never seen any other film do. And I don't want to spoil it, but yeah, I really enjoy horror that has that strong female lead in it, and that's psychological or religion based horror tends to be where I get the most out of it.
Yeah, I would say I really like psychological based horror as well. So and I haven't seen that one. I know you're a big fan of that film. I'm definitely going to definitely add it to my list. I've been meaning to. When you are, I guess, search like is there, I would say, a director that maybe I because I know you do this a lot. You will watch something that from a director you haven't seen something from, and then you'll want to like watch everything they do. Is there something recently like that kind of happened to you, or where you were just like, oh, I want to watch everything this person's
Yeah,
done, even if
not
you
with horror.
haven't done it yet?
Not with horror, but it happened with the guy from Triangle of Sadness, Ruben Ostlund.
Mm.
I liked that, and I liked The Force Majeure even more. That's a fantastic film. It's about this family that goes to a ski resort, and they're sitting and having dinner or lunch at this restaurant, and there's a big avalanche outside, and it looks like the avalanche is going to come and hit them. And in the father's panic, he scrambles and runs away from the table, but he leaves his wife and kids there. And then the avalanche doesn't hit them and everybody's fine. But the rest of the film is exploring how the marriage is broken because of this, and the wife sees him differently, and him trying to recapture some semblance of being a protector. And it has a lot of dark humor, dark comedy in it too. Fantastic one. And there's one more that I saw from him. I had to get it on streaming. I'm blanking on the name. I want to say The Core or The Cure. I'm actually going to look it up real quick. But that's
Yeah.
another one that was really, really good. He always tackles. He always has that same type of feel to his films, like that dark comedy type feel to it. The other one I saw is called The Square. The Square, and that one was really, really good too. So there's a few others that I want to. I'm hoping that Criterion might put out some other stuff from him. But he's a director that I really like. And then there's one other director, Quentin Dupieux. The first film I saw from him was a movie called what the heck? I just rewatched it the other day. Oh, Keep an Eye Out. It's only like 75 minutes, and it's all about this police detective interrogating this guy who found a dead body. But it has a lot of dark humor, really, really great dialogue. And then I found a couple of other films from him, and he just puts out really, really quirky, really weird stuff. He put out a film called Rubber, which is all about an inanimate object, a tire from a car, but it's actually really a serial killer. That movie was not very good. But the other couple things I've seen from him, he's just very, very unique. So I would say him. I would say Ruben Ostlund, and then the director of Portrait of a Lady on Fire. I'm trying to find her name here because I don't want to say it. I don't want to butcher it, but
I remember when Rubber came out, and I didn't see it.
yeah,
But it's
no good.
interesting to know that director went on to do some really great work afterwards.
Yeah, the one that did Petite Maman and Portrait of a Lady on Fire, Selena Siama, if I'm saying that right, but she's another French director, and another female director that what I've seen from her, she's 2 for 2. She did The Babadook and she did The Nightingale. Jennifer something.
I've only seen The Babadook. I have not seen The Nightingale, though.
Nightingale is one of the most brutal films you'll ever see. I can say that with some confidence. Jennifer something with a K. I'm trying to find it here. I could be way off. No, Jennifer Kent. Yeah. So if you like The Babadook and you can stomach, it's not like super gory, The Nightingale, but it's just some of the things that this character goes through are just really, really rough. But it's a good film, though. It's a really good revenge film.
I think my meter when it comes to that is the end is Eden Lake. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie, but there's no redemption in that movie, and it's a horror film with oh my goodness, I'm blanking on his name. Ewan McGregor. And that to me is like afterwards there's like I can't watch it again, and I just feel like awful. I don't know if you've seen it though.
No, I haven't seen that one.
It's a well-made film for sure, and it's not. I wouldn't necessarily say the most goriest, but it definitely is like, oh, like these people cannot catch a break and it just never ends. So it's one of those.
Yeah. Isn't it so funny? You go on a live stream and all of a sudden you can't remember shit sometimes.
Yes, absolutely.
3 or 4 times I blanked on stuff that I completely know who I'm trying to talk about or the movie I'm thinking of, but it's like, yeah, you're on a live stream, so your brain only works 50%.
Yeah, I started putting my letterbox tab up with these because I'll sometimes just completely blank on what I watched for the month because I always keep a list of that. And so
Yeah.
I have to always have that handy just in case. Doc Savage says, I have Triangle of Sadness in my library. I keep forgetting to watch. Yeah, it's a wild ride, and it's really kind of like three different, completely different acts of a film that all come together and kind of work. I've heard people that just say they can't stand the second act, but they love the first and third. I've heard people say they don't like the first act, but they love the second and third. I mean, it's all over the place with this movie, but that's great how everyone kind of interprets it differently and gravitates towards certain aspects of it. Because I don't think anyone could watch it and be like, oh, well, I didn't like this actor or the other one, you know?
Yeah.
Like, or not all of them. Like, you'd find one that you like at least. Midnight Cowboy is a classic, good cinema. Yes, it is. Midnight Cowboy winning Oscar is nuts. It's great, but an X-rated flick with lots of gay subtext at the time it was made doesn't scream Oscar. No, it does not. I think we talked about this earlier. So, but yeah, I'm excited for Deadpool 3, and I think it's the only film I'm confident in coming out of Marvel in the future currently. So, and you know, Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman know their characters, so I can't imagine it's going to be completely an abomination or anything like that. Yes, agreed. One is fine, and let's, you know, I hope the whole company just kind of has a whole restart button on everything that they're working on. Brian Childs, Prisoners with Hugh Jackman and Jake Gyllenhaal, amazing. Hugh Jackman performance and Denis Villeneuve movie before he got into big budget sci-fi. Yeah, I've always wanted to see this and I've never have.
Yeah, that's a good call. Prisoners was awesome, and that's definitely my favorite Hugh Jackman. And speaking of, I know you're asking me about directors. Villeneuve is one that I fell into recently, and he's one of my top directors working still today. I think he's excellent.
How do you feel about Dune 2 being delayed?
I didn't even know.
Oh, perfect. Well,
See, I'm out of the loop. I'm out of the loop with the theater stuff, you know?
That's true. I apologize. Yeah, it was supposed to come out last weekend actually, or I
wow.
guess 2 weekends ago. Yeah, and then it because of the strike they delayed it, and I kind of felt like if it was Dune Part 1, I could understand delaying it, but it was a sequel that had been advertised all summer, depending like what movie you saw. You'd always see the trailer, and I thought it was just really silly to have that.
Okay.
So, but I think it'll be March, I believe, is when it's going to be coming out now.
Yeah, I'll have to give Dune a rewatch before.
Yeah.
Maybe I can get myself to theaters for that.
Yes. 2021's The Cursed is a fantastic horror period film starring Kylie Riley and Boyd Halbrook. Very underrated. I don't think I've seen this one.
I haven't, but I forgot which streaming service. I always see it pop up. I don't know if it's on It might be Shudder. Which, by the way, if anyone in the chat or you don't know, Shudder is a fantastic horror-based streaming service. It's only $5.99 a month, and they have so much horror, classic horror, new original horror that's put out just by them. I've found a lot of good stuff through the Shudder app, so it's cheap too. So I would recommend that if you like horror.
Yeah, I don't have it currently, but I've heard, obviously I know about it, and I know that they definitely put great stuff on there. Hollywood remade Force Majeure with Will Ferrell for American audiences, not as good as the original. You're right, they did. And doesn't Julia Louis-Dreyfus play his wife?
Yeah, after I saw the Oslin film, somehow I stumbled across the fact that there was an American remake. I didn't even know, but I'm almost compelled to watch it just because I liked the original so much, but it's kind of like, why bother? Especially if he's saying it's not as good.
That'd be an interesting video for you to do, actually, like to compare and contrast.
Yeah.
Across the Spider-Verse is my number one of 2023 so far. Yeah, it's definitely in my top 10, I would say, for sure.
That one I did get to theaters for. Took the kids to that one.
I remember, I think we talked about it. Your kids liked it a lot too.
Well, it's like 2.5 hours. My little one, he's 7. He didn't make it. He fell asleep.
Right.
But he liked it while he was conscious. So
Oh. But then again, we have 3 Sonyverse Spider-Man universe films coming out in 2024. Yeah, that's true. I've heard the new video game is really good, the new Spider-Man video game, but I don't have a PS5. But I have played the original, the first one, because Max has that. He's really into that game. I've heard about Rubber. I'm so intrigued. Yeah, Rubber is. I have not seen it, but I just remember it was like people were just talking about it because it wasn't necessarily the best. But
yeah, it's not very good.
Is Nightingale more brutal than Bone Tomahawk? If so, good God.
I have not seen Bone Tomahawk, but I think Bone Tomahawk is like really, really realistically gory, and I think that's why it's considered so brutal. Nightingale isn't overly gory, like I said, but it's very, very brutal. But it's not like a gore fest.
Yeah, Dell's saying I just saw the Nightingale a few months back, and that opening almost broke me. He says.
Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah.
The other film I couldn't remember the name of from the guy from Rubber that is actually really good is keep an eye out, but the other one is called Mandibles. So Mandibles.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So do you have like a favorite era of film that you gravitate towards?
No, but I will say that I do tend to gravitate toward more modern cinema. Like the Criterion Collection is a good example of that because they have stuff from the 20s, 30s, 40s, all the way up through. But I know when I'm picking out Criterions, 99% of the time it's blind buy. I know that I'm not big on 30s, 40s, 50s cinema. Usually they're too slow for me. Usually I can't get invested. There are exceptions, of course, but I tend to not gravitate in that direction. I need 60s. There's some 60s, but 60s and especially 70s, 80s and beyond is where I tend to focus. And even the newer stuff, if you're looking in the right places, you can find. That's the thing about Criterion. Everyone thinks, oh, you just like those old film, black and white and foreign films. I actually had a guy in my comment on my video. He commented like, Criterion Collection is just for snobs who watch, boring movies. But what people don't realize is they put out a lot of stuff from the 2000s and beyond. I found so many films post 2000 that I had never heard of that are fantastic. So I know when I'm blind buying, I look for post 2000 a lot of times, or a little bit more modern, because I know I don't like the 50s, 40s, 30s. It just doesn't do it for me.
Yeah, and you're so right. They definitely put so many films that are very recognizable to the general public. And I definitely don't think it's for just snobs. I think it's trying to highlight films that maybe are lesser known to get an audience to see it because they deserve it. That's one of the things I love about the Criterion Collection. So,
I've discovered so many films that I never would have been exposed to without that label. So I actually have a whole list here of recommendations.
Have you ever seen on YouTube? There's, I believe they put it out themselves, the Criterion Collection, and they'll have like a director or an actor go into the Criterion closet and then just pick out random movies and discuss them.
Yeah, I've seen a bunch of those. I actually get recommendations from those videos.
Yeah, I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Last thing I'll say about Tiptoes, if you watch the trailer, you'll think it's an SNL skit. I promise it's not. LOL. Okay, that's it. Well, I wrote it down. So thank you very much, Doc Savage, for the recommendation. And I love SNL. So even if it was an SNL skit, I'd be fine with that. Speaking of all these great films, does anyone know when the Eras Tour will be hitting streams or physical media? Sorry, I'm a big Swiftie. Had to throw it out there. I actually have no idea because I didn't see it in theaters, and I'm sure at some point I'd like to just see what the fuss was about. Yeah. I have no idea when it's coming to streaming. I bet it's going to it'll probably make a ton of money once it hits physical media, though, because all of those Taylor Swift fans that supported the film are definitely going to be buying it. That's for sure.
And what is that? Just like a video of her in concert?
Yeah. So, yeah. And I think, there was so much not controversy, but tickets to Taylor Swift's latest concert tour were incredibly expensive. And I guess she decided to put it out in the theaters, and it made over $1 billion. And it was only premiering on like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of each weekend, and it's still out. But people treated it like a concert, like they were bringing like trading friendship bracelets and like dancing in the aisles, and like they treated it like a real concert. So it was kind of like a really smart business move, I would say.
Yeah, it sounds like it made a lot of money. So
Yeah, and people had a good time. And I think things like that should be more accessible to people, because if the tickets are too expensive to see in person, I think that's a great idea by making it accessible in theaters. Have we heard Scream 7 is looking to go into production mid 2024 and looking to come out towards the end of 2024? I also heard it will be a horror Christmas film. That's interesting. I don't know about this information. There's so much news coming out now that the actors strike is over and people can actually solidify production dates. But I could see that working as a horror Christmas film. Are you a big fan of Scream?
no,
No.
I think they're fine. I've seen them all. I don't think I've seen 4. But if you've seen 1, you've seen them all. I don't think it needs to have a Christmas edition.
And it's funny. The thing that bothers me about the most recent Scream is that it was supposed to be Scream Comes to New York, and they actually didn't film it here at all. And it's like, well, then why did you make it placed here? And that was like your selling point, that Scream's finally in Manhattan, and they filmed it in Canada or something, or somewhere completely different. So
I didn't know that. That's lame.
yeah. Taylor's Eras tour will be on MetaQuest. JK, can you imagine releases only on virtual reality? Yeah. I mean, that's a good idea, though. If you're going to, since virtual reality is becoming so popular with video games and things, like releasing a concert, film on virtual reality makes a lot of sense, I think. I don't care what anyone says. Don't watch the Human Centipede movies. Those aren't horror. They are just gross filth. I will never watch them, and I always bring that up as well.
Yeah, I haven't seen them either.
I have no desire. I think there was like an era that was how much,
the early 2000s when you had all the Saw movies and all the Hostel films. Like I don't care about gore porn.
Right. Train Spotting is finally coming to Criterion 4K soon in January.
I haven't seen that. I actually don't know much about that movie, but I'll be interested since it's getting a Criterion 4K.
Yeah, Danny Boyle. I think you'd like it a lot, actually. Let's see. Have you guys? So sorry about that. Sean Levy, the director of Deadpool 3, did not confirm it in his. Oh, I think this is a double. I screwed up here. Speaking of Taylor Swift, have you guys heard she is rumored to appear as Dazzler? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I also know Taylor Swift is going to be directing some films. She just had a contract. She's been directing her own music videos for years. So her next step would be to do a film. So I'm not really that surprised. And I don't know how good of an actor she is. I've seen her in. I don't even know if I've seen her in anything, to be honest. But it just doesn't surprise me to hear that news. Jason Takes Manhattan, mostly filmed in Toronto too. Oh my goodness. That's terrible. If you're going to make a huge deal about something being filmed in New York, you should try to at least film at least half of it here. I'll ask you this. Any films that are coming out in 2024? I know you're not a big theater guy, but like movies that you've are seeing that are coming out and like you'll definitely want to catch at home at some point.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I don't really have my finger on the pulse of things, but you might be able to probably tell me some stuff that I would like that's coming out. But I would just say, in a broad sense, anything that's coming out from a director that I really like. So I don't know if Paul Thomas Anderson has a project in the works or Villeneuve has a project in the works, but I would say anything from a director that I like. But again, I don't really have my finger on the pulse of what's going on for 2024.
Totally. Yeah. And so I guess for you, it would be Dune Part 2. I'm still like so focused on the films. Like there's like 13 movies that are coming out between now and January that I'm really looking forward to seeing. So I'm not even really consciously thinking about 2024 yet.
Yeah.
So, but I will once award season dies down, then I'll get back into that for sure. I did see the Inside Out trailer. It's a sequel to Inside Out, the first one, and I did quite enjoy that a bit. But as far as that, I'm not really positive though about 2024. So, but thank you so much for the question as always. The Leatherface movie from 2017 was shot in Bulgaria, not Texas. Wow. Talk about a location swap. That's fascinating.
And speaking of new movies, I know you saw one recently from Alexander Payne
Yes.
with,
The Holdovers.
with Giamatti. How was that?
Oh, it's fantastic. You're going to love it.
That's a director that I really like too. So that would be one I want to check out for sure.
Yeah, and I keep trying to tell people that the trailer for The Holdovers isn't the most I don't know. It doesn't technically sell it, the film. I think the film is astronomically better than the trailer is. I obviously just saw it because I know Alexander Payne. I love Paul Giamatti. I'm going to see anything that he does. But I think if people just trust the word of mouth on this movie and don't just take it from watching the trailer, it's fantastic, and I think it's going to become a classic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one commenter you had just listed a whole bunch of films coming out.
Oh my goodness. We have so much to pick from for choice. Night Swim. I did see the trailer for that. That looked good. Madam Web, Imaginary Godzilla, and Kong 2, Mortal Kombat 2, Planet of the Apes 4, Quiet Place Day 1. They're doing a third Quiet Place movie. That's very interesting. Deadpool 3 and Alien Romulus.
I didn't know they were coming out with a new Alien film. That's pretty exciting. But
no,
I haven't heard of the first three there: Night Swim, Madame Web, or Imaginary. But like everything else is like part 3, part 5, part 4, part 2. Like I wish we would get more original films.
Yes.
But
absolutely. And I'm just he keeps going too, actually. So there's even more. Beetlejuice 2, Craven the Hunter, yeah, Karate Kid 2. I guess oh yeah, because they did remake the Karate Kid. I never saw that one. I need to check it out. Oh, actually, yeah, Folie de Joker 2, with Joaquin Phoenix and Lady Gaga. I'm very excited about that one. That's probably my most anticipated for 2024. I hear Dream Scenario with Nicolas Cage is good. If it's half as good as Pig, I'm in. So Pig is like Nicolas Cage's favorite role he's ever done, and I have not seen it yet. I want to see that, and I have enjoyed the trailer for Dream Scenario. Have you heard about these films? They're both Nicolas Cage movies.
I haven't heard of Dream Scenario, but I have Pig and I watched it, and it is a good movie.
Okay, yeah, and actually, I think Dream Scenario is an A24 film. I think it's upcoming. It should be upcoming soon.
I think I did hear of that because, yeah, I think now that you mentioned that it's A24, that's definitely one that, and that's another, to answer an earlier question from, I believe, that same commenter. Anything that A24 puts out, I'm interested and excited for it for 2024. That production company has won me over at this point. Not everything is a hit, but if A24 is attached to it, I'm paying attention.
I'm the same exact way with you. Absolutely. Huge A24 fans. So we are coming to the end here. Did you want to promote anything for your channel?
Not well, I'm gonna try and put out a couple more Criterion videos before the month is out. But like I said, I think 3 days ago, I went out, I just held the phone to my shelf and I went through all 180 Criterions. So again, if you are looking for Criterion recommendations, besides the obvious stuff that everybody gets, like Wall-E and Thelma and Louise and After Hours. But if you want to have a little bit of a deeper dive into what they have, check out my page, especially if you do gravitate toward newer cinema and you don't like the old school Hollywood. But yeah, besides that, I got my dog going nuts over here. That's why I had to get up a few times. He kept on scratching at the door.
Oh, that's okay.
Well, yeah, besides that, I don't have anything immediately upcoming, but follow me on YouTube and you'll see what I do.
Yeah, everyone definitely check out his channel. He has a really great insight into everything film and collecting and showcasing his favorite Criterion collection as well. And I think that's really valuable because I do think it's easy for people to get overwhelmed by the Criterion collection because there's a lot that they haven't heard of. So it's great to have YouTubers like you who kind of like are ones that can recommend it, because you might be nervous to buy something and then not necessarily love the movie. So that's why I highly recommend checking out Hard Copy Blues, Vin's channel. So
Yeah, and I got through the entire video is only like 20 minutes long. So every title I just say if I liked it, if I would highly recommend it, or if it's a must buy, or if I didn't like it, I just move on. So if you want to just get some quick recommendations, and check it out.
I absolutely love that. And I think a video like that's going to be useful for years and years to come. So that was a great idea. Thank you so much, everyone in the chat. And thank you so much, Vin, for being my guest today. It's been a great time. And everyone, thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you next week.
For Dell, right?
Yes, Dell. Yes. It'll be fun.